Hey everyone, I'm Rosa from Wunder Mobility, and today we'll be talking about Bluetooth, a feature that we'll be offering very soon for shared mobility operators who wish to provide accessibility for their customers anywhere and everywhere. And since our last webinar, we decided to expand our product offering by providing solutions to pains that we see that operators are facing in the market. In this case, we'll be expanding on the whole sharing use case by implementing the accessibility to more vehicles, even without an internet connection. So today I'm joined by Stefano Niero, Vehicles Product Manager, who will be talking more about this feature and what it will mean for you. And maybe you could briefly introduce yourself and your role here at Wunder.
Hi everyone, I am Stefano Niero. I have an automotive engineering background. I have worked for 5 years between automotive and smart mobility, and I've been working at Wunder Mobility for 2 years now as the product manager of our hardware products and product owner of connectivity and APIs in our software.
And yeah, cool. And just a quick note for everyone who's watching that you'll be able to leave your questions right down in the chat below, and we'll either get back to you during the webinar or as soon as possible after. All right, with that said, let's get started. So, what is Bluetooth and how does it enable an operator running a sharing mobility service?
So, Bluetooth is a short range wireless technology standard that is used to exchange data between devices. The range is typically 10 meters. It can go as long as 100, and it builds a so called personal area network, meaning that it is mainly used to replace wire connections. In our specific case, we are actually talking about BLE, which stands for Bluetooth Low Energy. This is a version of the standard optimized for low power consumption, and it is ideal for applications such as wearable, IoT devices, which is our case, and short range data transfers. Such technology can be used in shared mobility services to establish a direct connection of the user phone with the vehicle, meaning that no network is required at all times, and meaning that there is a potential of increase the availability of the vehicle fleet and a big expansion of the use case depending on the strategy implemented. It could be so this could be used to take advantage of underground parking lots or allowed road trips and journeys into the wilderness, say. Particularly, this is important for the car case. It is a big step for car sharing actually to fill the gaps that currently exist with car ownership.
Cool. And how can the Bluetooth feature that we develop support the different vehicle use cases?
So the Bluetooth essentially maximizes the availability of the vehicles and compensates for the lack of network connectivity. We have been dealing mostly with two use cases so far, the car sharing and the bike sharing case, because we believe that these two are the cases that would benefit the most from the introduction of Bluetooth logics for different reasons, actually, that we can talk about later. In general, though, such feature can benefit any kind of use case, despite network availability in city is something that we are very much used to. Real-time responses can still be a challenge due to, for example, conformation of the buildings that cause the phenomenon that is called urban canyoning, and such phenomenon is among the other effects screens the signals, slowing down the response of the network. But also there are other reasons. For example, the SIMs that are usually used for IoTs are multi-providers, and if by the time that a command is being sent correspond also to the one in which a SIM is changing the provider for to improve the connectivity, some delays whenever the SIM switches provider, there can be some delays in reconnecting back, and this can take up to a few seconds. So the user does experience some delays even in a city environment.
Could you explain or specify further why you see car sharing as one of the cases that would benefit the most?
Yeah, sure. So the car sharing case in for the car sharing case in a city, there are many aspects that could hinder the connectivity, like the previously mentioned urban canyoning effect that can slow down the response quite remarkably also. But then there are other factors, like for example the underground parking that can break the connection completely. In order to solve these issues, Bluetooth comes to help. Depending on the strategy adopted, it can be used to make the connection to the car much more stable and quick. As commands do not need to pass through the service anymore, the result is instantaneous or near instant command implementation. Like for example, we're talking here about the lock and unlock of the car without needing to wait for even tens of seconds in front of the car in the worst cases. This allows users to take advantage of underground parkings. Say, for example, you want to go to the city center for shopping or just for a walk. You can now access to the underground parking garage instead of being bound to the surface parking that forces you to drive in circles for hours and hours only to park somewhere maybe that is very inconvenient. And in the meantime, you're also paying for your rent. One of the aspects, so this would be one of the most benefiting case, but also what I see even more interesting and that I believe that really bridges the gap with car ownership is the expansion to the we can call it out of town trip case or even road trips. Imagine you want to take a trip to the mountains or a remote island, the desert. I don't know, depends on where the user are somewhere in the nature, and understandably and also I guess hopefully not well connected if that's what you're looking for. Well, with Bluetooth, we've got you covered because you can still take full advantages of the car's availability wherever you are. This means I think it's very powerful because this means that something that was typically urban, like the sharing mobility, it's the urban thing, now is no more. And this allows you to go wherever you want without any worry about the network availability.
Interesting. I couldn't help but notice that you mentioned bikes, and since bike sharing is something that we value a lot here at Wunder, for example, we co developed our own e bike. I really wanted to ask you how Bluetooth can support such a modality.
Yeah, sure, that's correct. We do develop our co-develop a bike, and as I mentioned before, I think that every kind of use case can benefit from the Bluetooth. But I would say that in this case, we're not talking only about e-bikes, but we are also expanding the possibilities to traditional pedal bikes or special purpose bikes. Once again, so also for the bikes, the Bluetooth can help to bring the sharing case out of town. So I'm thinking, for example, to services spread over large areas on which multiple village, for example, are involved, and maybe operators are looking for more specialized bikes because such area can be, for example, a mountain area, and therefore you need mountain bikes.
Mhm.
There are many, so you can enable the sharing service on a traditional consumer bike by equipping it with bike locks that are controlled just like IoT controls our e-bikes. And there are quite a quantity of locks available in the market that are electronically controlled to enable such case. Such locks, though, in order to minimize the energy consumption, they use Bluetooth to avoid the need to be constantly connected to the server and to say therefore saving energy because they might not be equipped with a battery like an e-bike. More in general, these can be used for any pedal bike setup, or even in other cases, like you can have other special purpose bikes, like for example the cargo bikes. The setup of such service gets much easier with the Bluetooth. As you might see, these two are quite different use cases that are breached by the same technology. And maybe in the future, there will be even more use cases that can benefit from the BLE technology. Therefore, this is the reason why we see a lot of potential in the development of such feature. And this will be a major introduction in our offer. Naturally, the possibility to allow longer and more out of town rental cases can be offered with any vehicle type, not only with cars and bikes, also with mopeds, e-bikes, but from the city to the out of town. Although this would require some adjustments in the service offer, and as these vehicles have a shorter range than a car, and usually different refueling logic, like usually we have battery swapping, but this is only limited to the operator's creativity. And in the years, we have seen so many different use cases. Some were crazy, but some were crazy, but also went on and contributing to the shaping of what is today the service, the car sharing or vehicle sharing offering. And therefore, I am sure that in the future we will keep on seeing new creative and innovative solutions. And this is why I personally love this industry. It never stops.
All right. You did mention earlier road trips and bridging the gap with car ownership. Does this mean that other use cases can be enabled by Bluetooth adoption?
Yes, exactly. And this is also very good to mention because on our Wunder platform, we do already enable long rentals. But in addition to these, we're also working on the delivery of the pre booking feature. So the possibility to book a car well in advance so that you can count on it for example, an important trip. And Bluetooth is a key ingredient to deliver such feature at its best. Because having the app with the Bluetooth enable is very much like having the car key in your hand. And this makes the car pre booking so convenient to use without any worry, with a seamless experience, and without the user needing to care about the physical car key to compensate for the cases in which the network might not be available, so the experience becomes so much easier. So we strongly believe in the combination of these two features that we are about to deliver, Bluetooth and pre-booking, as these on one side can enable sharing operators to offer longer rentals, and but on the other side, it does enable car rental businesses to quickly digitalize if they onboard with us.
And what are the key aspects to consider for sharing mobility operators adopting Bluetooth for their service after explaining what you recently explained?
So the benefits for a user of a sharing service that adopts Bluetooth are very big, but from great benefits comes a great quantity of aspects to be careful about. We said earlier that offering a Bluetooth key to the user is like handing them over the car key. This is great and very much worry free from a service point of view. But for the operator perspective, there are a few security aspects to be aware of and to keep into account while choosing the preferred strategy. So how does it work? This technology is that basically there is a token that is a unique string of characters provided by the server and used to authorize the user's phone, to send commands via Bluetooth to that vehicle. That the sharing of this token with the user's phone can happen at different time of the rental and can have also a variable duration. So the combination of these two variables duration and time of sharing with the user can influence quite a lot the kind of service that you as an operator are going to provide. And these settings of these variables come essentially from the trade-off between availability and security. For example, if you activate the token, if you give to the user the token before the actual start of the rental, say during the reservation of the vehicle, you can have the vehicle parked in the underground garage as it does not require any network to be open. The risk here, though, is that the token is shared with a phone belonging to a user that is not yet committed to the rental because the rental has not started yet. But this user already has the key in his app. Of course, like the key currently can be used obviously only through the app. It's a code that is embedded in it. Another example is the token duration. So to maximize the security, you want to have this token that is uploaded in the app to have it as short-lived as possible so that you minimize the time in which you are out of a rental with a token still active. The more often, though, the shorter the life of such token, the more often you need to connect to the network again to renew this token. And if you want to enable longer rides, trips in the wilderness, then this doesn't work well because you need to have a token that is as perpetual as possible from the user perspective, because you might not have access to the network for hours, even days. And so in this case, you need to deliver a very long lasting Bluetooth token. But then, as an operator, you also need to make sure that this gets invalidated at the end of the rental. So, in order to do that, in order to invalidate the Bluetooth token at the end of the rental, you need to have a network connection when you're ending the rental. So then there are multiple strategies, as you can see. There is no real golden one nor a bad one. It really depends on what you want to deliver, what you think is better for your setup, your scenario. It is also fair to say that the Bluetooth token per se, has an intrinsic security. So this is valid on it's in theory valid that you can spoof the token and use it outside of the app, but that will require a reverse engineering of the app in order to find to be able to actually retrieve that token and also understand how this is being used by the app. Then you need to build your own app, your own, I mean, now you're a private person that is trying to steal the car, and this requires so much advanced skills that this has never happened, and it seems possible only in theory because it's such an effort. And still, it is important, talking about cars, so very valuable goods. It is important to be aware of the risks, even if these are only theoretical. Um, One thing to mention about the pre-booking then is that the management of the token becomes so much easier. This is the easiest and safest scenario to manage this token, because you have the user that is pre-booking the car, therefore they are already defining when they're going to start the ride and when they're going to end the ride. So we can deliver at a Bluetooth token in advance so that they can start the rental offline, but that will activate only when the start at the agreed time in which the rental will start, and will last only for the agreed time of the rental duration. And this reduce the risks dramatically for the operator uh, to um, to have someone with a Bluetooth token uploaded on the phone, but not in the rental anymore.
All right. And we just received a question from one of the registrants in our audience asking, what about the operators that are interested in having their own app? Can they use the Bluetooth or must they buy the whole package?
Yeah, that's actually it's very good that we got this question. Every time that we develop a product or a feature, we think of it in such a way that is as modular and as possible, so that we can empower all kinds of customers. So while we offer the full package, we don't want to force anyone to buy it. For example, this can be the case of more mature customers that want to keep their own app or want to develop their own app. In this case, we built a native SDK that we can provide for both iOS and Android, and this can be used to can be integrated in the operator's app. So this will reduce remarkably the development effort on the side of the operator, having a ready-made module that they can take advantage of.
And we also got another one asking about cost calculation. So, what about the cost calculation while the vehicle is offline?
Yeah. So also this one is quite specific, but so we need to separate now between the pre-booking case and the free floating. For the pre-booking case, there is no problem. The prices are agreed beforehand, so there is no real need to calculate the parking time. For the sharing case, if it is car sharing that we're talking about, all the reservation data are saved locally in the IoT box, and then these get updated to the server as soon as a new network is found. Then, when these are updated, the our software does rebuild the history of this rental and is able to calculate the parking time and the running time. For other cases, like it can be the bicycle case, the same operation is performed. Only in this case, we are not saving the data in the IoT box because, as we saw before, it could have only Bluetooth connection and not an actual connection to the server. So we are saving this data temporarily on the user's phone, and then these are pushed to the network as pushed to the server as soon as a network is found. We are talking of a few megabytes of data, so the available memory capacity in user's phone is affected in a negligible way.
So, just to recap everything that we've spoken about today, you've explained what Bluetooth is and how a shared operator can be enabled by this solution for their business and for the end users taking advantage of this. We also discussed how the Bluetooth feature that we've developed supports different kind of vehicle use cases, especially when it comes to car sharing and bikes. You also covered the topic of bridging the gap with car ownership and what Bluetooth integration possibilities exist for other types of vehicle use cases. We talked also a little bit about the key aspects to consider for shared mobility operators who want to adopt Bluetooth. And we also discuss if operators that are interested in having their own app can use Bluetooth or have to invest in the whole package that we'll be offering. And finally, you've talked about the cost calculation while a vehicle is offline. So, unfortunately, time is running out, but I wanted to thank you, Stefano, and I wanted to thank you for participating in the audience today and for everyone who asked their questions. We won't be able to get through all the questions you asked, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible afterwards. Bye, Stefano.
Bye, Rosa. Bye, everyone.